Hi, welcome to Scented Pages. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, baby. I finished reading The Inmate and Never Lie. So I wanted to get on here and chit chat, talk about them because I have a lot of stuff to say per usual. I am still in the little reading update. Little reading update. I've got some coffee, last little bit of my coffee from last night, and I've got some water in here because I know I'm gonna be talking in this video for a good minute. Oh, but first, the scent that I'm working with today is let me see, one of my Elizabeth Taylor scents. It's called Passion by Elizabeth Taylor. Look at that bottle. Isn't that beautiful? It almost looks like a amethyst stone. Being purple and the way that it's shaped like that is so, it's beautiful. So at any rate, and if you can see, you probably can't see. I've used so much of this perfume. It's one of my favorites, but it is definitely a mature, put you in the mind of white diamonds type of scent in her line. It's Passion by Elizabeth Taylor. Its main accords are woody, powdery, animalic, warm, spicy, white floral, musky, amber, smoky, and aldehydic, and earthy. Then, so Passion is by Elizabeth Taylor. It's an oriental fragrance for women. It was launched in 1988. It has top notes are aldehydes, coriander, gardenia, artemisia, ylang ylang, bergamot, and lily of the valley. Middle notes are spicy notes, sandalwood, honey, tuberose, patchouli, heliotrope, orris root, cedar, jasmine, and rose. Its base notes are incense, civet, leather, oak moss, sandalwood, musk, cedar, vanilla, and coconut. So there's a lot of notes in this scent. Let me see. Let me smell it. I'm having a little bit of a hard time trying to hold this daggone phone up out here. Okay. Let's put this on. This is one of my favorite fall scents. This is definitely a fall, deep winter, sexy, might I add, scent. And it's got all of those notes in it that just make it, oh my God. Baby. It's just absolutely divine is the best way that I can describe it. I love this perfume and I use it very sparingly because I don't want to run out of it. But if and when I do, I will be replacing it post-haste. So there's the scent Passion by Elizabeth Taylor. I love it. Love it, love it. Okay. Let's put that back there. I don't want to drop the camera. So another thing that I've been thinking about as far as my channel and reading and uploading consistently is I have to remind myself and remember, keep in the back of my mind why I'm doing YouTube and to not get discouraged. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating and a little discouraging to, just to keep it real. Cause I don't want to have my channel be like my venting channel about, stuff that's upsetting or whatever, but it can be a little discouraging to put in a year or almost a year's worth of time and effort into making videos and YouTube not put me into anybody's algorithms. I don't understand what it is that I'm doing wrong. Is it me? Now, I understand that you have to really be consistent with uploading regularly. And, you know, maybe I could work on that, uploading regularly, more consistently. I noticed that when I do upload, I always get a couple of new subscribers, in some comments, and I'm so grateful for those. And I am eternally thankful that, you know, there are people who have subscribed to me and that there are people who watch me. But I want more subscribers, not for money or for monetary or anything like that, because that's, you know, leading me back to I'm going to do this no matter what. It's not for money. Uh-oh, here go a bee, because I done sprayed perfume. Ain't you supposed to be hibernating or something by now? What do bees do in the fall and winter time? Don't they go away? Go to sleep or something? What they do? At any rate, what was I saying? I have to remember to be consistent and to not be discouraged when it takes a lot to make the script and to, you know, put something decent on and to make these videos. And I love doing it, but I want more engagement with an audience that cares about books like how I do. I want people to see my videos and say, oh yeah, girl, I was feeling the same thing. I want to have like a little reading community of just a couple of little cute, you know, little girly pops that like to read and talk about books. But it seems like my videos are not being shown. I look at other channels, and I know that you're not supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to compare, but I'm not understanding how is it that other channels can literally have 3 to 6 videos on their whole channel, just started their channel, you know, a month or two ago, and they've got already amassed thousands of subscribers and thousands of views. And I'm like, what's the difference? Here I am going at it for months with a couple dozen little videos up there. Now I got like over 40 videos, I think, up now, to get 1 or 2 subscribers versus somebody else who might only have a couple of 2 or 3 videos on their channel, or maybe, you know, they just started out and they've already blown up. What's the difference? Is it like a setting or something that I have to like put on my videos or something? Do I have to go into my settings and unclick something? What did I click something wrong? I must be doing something wrong. I feel like it's me. Because I don't understand why I don't have a little more, you know, listeners. Honey. At any rate, I'm continuing to do it, and I'm going to do it because I like the whole process of reading my books and then writing out my script and giving a cute little like video essay of what I'm reading. I like having to recall it, the details. I like, you know, also documenting my journey through whatever it is I'm reading. And then also I know that one day things may take off and may happen for this channel, and I'm, you know, ready for it and I'm excited for it. But honey, meantime and in between time, I be like, where are my views? Where the people? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's surprisingly hot out here. I thought I was gonna need this little red jacket, but it's not. Oh, and speaking of jackets, I'll probably put in a picture of the jacket that I got that I wanted to be my fall jacket. I thought when I ordered it, when I saw it on the internet, I thought it was going to be like this shade of yellow, like this dark mustard fall yellow. Honey, I got that jacket and it was canary bird yellow, bright spring just being born chick yellow. Spring and summer. So I had to put that jacket up for the spring and summertime. I can't wait to pull it back out though for the summer and for the spring. It's nice and bright and yellow. I'm gonna look just like a brand new baby chick that's just been born. Can't wait. So today I want to talk about 2 books. I want to talk about The Inmate by Freidda McFadden and Never Lie by Freidda McFadden. These are both books that I had gotten from the library, that haul that I did. So I finished reading these. They were good. I'm not going to give summaries of both of them. I'm thinking that I will do the summary for The Inmate first, and then if I still feel like it, I'll just answer the questions in the back of Never Lie, because I don't really remember all of the details of Never Lie the way that I remember the details of Inmate, because I read Never Lie a couple weeks ago, a little bit further back than I did The Inmate. The Inmate I just finished, and it was so good and juicy, and so I remember most of the details from it, and I've got to talk about it because the girl in this book, Brooke, insufferable. The most worstest, insufferable person that I've ever had the displeasure of reading. She was the worst. I've been reading Freidda McFadden books and Shari LaPena books in between my Stephen King haul books. So I'm almost done with Needful Things. Thank God. That's why I'm not done with Needful Things yet. It's because I keep picking up other stuff in between time reading. And not that it's not good. It's an excellent book. I just need to supplement it with other non-King things. So I've got about 100 or so pages left of Needful Things, finally. I've got about 100 or so pages left of it, and I cannot wait to get to the grand finale and finish it up. I'm going to probably finish this up definitely this week. Definitely by this week I'm going to be done with this. I'm going to be done with this, and also I'm going to be done with Pet Sematary. Look at how far, look at how many daggone annotations that I did. Now, in Pet Sematary, I think I've got like 50 pages left. 145, yeah. I'm on page 145, and it's like, I'm on page 345. I did that last time, said that I was on the wrong daggone page. I had recorded another, like, vlog, because when I upload the video for this, I'm going to put in some, like, little, video clips that I had taken of myself while I was reading this. But I said that I was on page 57, and I was on page 157. Anyway, I'm on page 345, and it's 395 pages in it. So I've got about 50 more pages of this. This is excellent. And then I'm gonna make a Stephen King video for the first 3 Stephen King novels that I've read. They've been fun. It's been a journey with him. I'm loving how dense and compact the words are on his page. Like, this might not look like a book that's taking me forever to get through, but honey, when I tell you that man will just crunch the pages, with words, like they are so dense with words, which is fine, but it takes a little bit longer to get through it than just you would think. Oh, it's not even 400 pages. Yeah, right. It's still going to take a minute to get through it because it's super dense. But it's good. It's been fine. I've been enjoying myself. I'm almost at the end of it, so I'll make a video when I finally do get to the end of it. So I said all that to say I'm still on my Stephen King journey, but I have been supplementing it with some other stuff. So let's talk about it. So let me see. Okay, I'm back. So the first book that we're going to talk about is The Inmate, and it's by Freidda McFadden, one of my favorite authors these days. I love her. Like, so far I might have been disappointed by like some of the maybe couple of like little plot holes or little things like that, but for the most part I eat her books up like nummy, because they are so fast paced and just page turners, and it's like you want to know what's going on and what then happened. So The Inmate is about this girl named Brooke Sullivan, and she's about 28 years old, and she's a nurse practitioner, And she has a son, a 10-year-old son named Josh. And Brooke has just been recently, not too long ago, hired to work at a maximum security prison. She's gonna be working at this maximum security system because maximum security prison because she's just now moving back home, back into her parents' house, because they've been recently killed in a tragic car accident, both of her parents. So she's a little thrown off, but she's not particularly sad because her and her parents weren't very close at all. They had disowned her when she was pregnant with Josh, her son. They had their reasons because they didn't like Shane. They completely disowned her. So when they passed away, she really wasn't super broken up about it. So this is also the same prison that her baby daddy, Shane Nelson, is incarcerated in because she put him there. What happened was 11 years prior, she had gone to a sleepover at Shane's house. He hosted a sleepover at his house, and it was 6 of them there. And 3 people ended up murdered and 3 people survived. The 3 people that survived was Brooke herself, Shane, and Brooke's childhood best friend, Tim. So, let me see. Yes, Tim is her neighbor and childhood friend. They grew up together, and one day she's dropping her son off at school, and she sees that Tim is the new assistant principal, or he works at her son Josh's school. So that kind of sparks a little something in her, because even though they were best friends growing up, and she was feeling like it was just a platonic friendship and nothing more was to it. Of course, Tim was in love with her. So a little love starts between them. Eventually, Brooke does have to, she eventually has to treat Shane at this prison. So she encounters him, and she's like, oh, well, he doesn't seem too terribly mad at me because I am responsible for sending him to jail. Well, that's a good thing. She begins to kind of stitch him up, and notices that a couple of things in this prison just aren't up to par with taking care of and housing humans. There's stuff Shane came in and he had been beaten up and he needed stitches, and there was no numbing medicine there, and he just had to take the stitches, and she was affected by that. I don't know why. When he tried to kill her, weird. The fact that she is even at that prison, period, and being allowed to work there while there's an inmate that she was responsible for sending to this prison for life, is just one of those things that irritated me about this book. It was still good, but it just was that would never happen. Anyway, so she notices things like that. So while she is stitching him up and taking care of him, of course he's talking to her, and he's saying stuff I'm really not the guy that tried to kill you that night, Brooke. Somebody else tried to kill you. As a matter of fact, it was Tim. He's the one that you should stay away from. He really tried to kill you. So she's kind of got this in the back of her mind. She's kind of grappling with her feelings. I don't understand why, but she is. Outside of the prison, her and Tim have started dating. And so she introduces Tim to her son Josh, and Tim and Josh have a really good relationship. Like, Tim has kind of taken Josh under his wing, and he's helping him with his schoolwork, and he's like throwing the ball, taking him to the park, and they play ball together and stuff like that. So they're kind of like developing a good little relationship too. So what I liked about this book is that it has, like, every other chapter, it's in present time, and then the next chapter it'll be 11 years prior. So we have like a little flashback, and it reveals some stuff about Tim and Brooke and their little friendship and how they've kissed before. And like I said, that made Tim fall in love with her. And let me see. That made Tim so also around this time, it's revealed that Brooke really isn't sure about who tried to kill her that night 11 years prior, because it was dark and she couldn't see. The lights had gotten blown out. So they were in Shane's like little like beach house, or like a little summer house, something like that. And she doesn't really know. It was dark. The lights had gotten blown out, or the murderer had purposely disconnected the lights so that they couldn't see. So she reveals that she's not really too sure about who attacked her that night because it was dark. But what she does remember is the smell of the guy who had attacked her, and it was the smell of sandalwood. So because sandalwood was a scent that Shane always wore, she thought that Shane was the person who had attacked her and tried to kill her and had killed all of her friends, killed the other 3 people at the sleepover that night too. Brooke ended up surviving the night. I'll tell you how later on. So the person that attacked her used the necklace that she had on. It was like a snowflake necklace or something, but he used the necklace to try and do away with her. And like I said, the only thing that she knew was the smell of him, and that was what she used to say that, oh, this was Shane because of the scent of this sandalwood. So that got Shane convicted and thrown into prison for like over 10 years. Now, the only thing that was also aggravating me about the continued mentioning of this smell of sandalwood was the smell. And I get that, when people go through traumatic experiences, that there are things that can be triggering, things that are associated with that time period can be very triggering to a person later on in the future with PTSD and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't make no sense to me that a scent can be triggering, a necklace can be triggering, but Shane himself and being around him and working at the same jail that he is in is not triggering. She had a whole panic attack when Tim showed up with the vague smell of sandalwood on him, but she's able to just perfectly take care of and talk to and damn near fall in love with Shane when she's convinced that Shane is the one who attacked her. Girl, I guess that aggravated me. So there was things that Tim was doing also that was a little, there to throw you off, because now you're thinking like, well, goodness, was Tim the one who attacked her? Is he really the one that's responsible for it? So there was a couple of things, like they went on a date and he gifted her a necklace that was the exact same necklace almost identical to the one that was used to attack her in that night. I think she was strangled. Yeah, she was strangled. Then that necklace was the same necklace that was used to strangle her, and he gave it to her. Then he wore that sandalwood aftershave that was kind of weird and reminded her of that night. So that was just stuff that he was doing, or he would get mad at her about stuff. And so you're reading this and like, well, what is going on with him? So So I said that the other thing that didn't make sense and irritated me was her being hired, and then the second thing was her being so triggered by everything except for Shane. So now the girl is having second thoughts about whether or not Shane is really the guilty one. And Shane has just really been getting in her head when she's, at work about him not being the murderer. So, what happened specifically on that night? No, I won't give the ending away just yet, because you already know the gist. I already said the gist. Let me backtrack a little bit and say some more of the story. Oh, no. I will. What happened was, I'll do it because this is a good spot to say a little more detail about what happened that night. So there was Brandon, Kayla, Chelsea, Tim, Brooke, and Shane. And the three that wound up dead was Brandon, Kayla, and Chelsea. And the three that was alive was Tim, Brooke, and Shane. Chelsea and Brooke were Chelsea was like Brooke's female best friend, and Tim was Brooke's male best friend. So the first to be killed on that night was Brandon, and that kind of like made Kayla flip out and panic, and she goes off to a room, and she's like, "Everybody stay away from me. I don't trust any of you. Don't nobody follow me in this room." Well, honey, she went and locked herself in the room, and now she did. So when Brandon and Kayla both pop up dead, Chelsea was like, "Brooke, honey, clearly the two of us are not the murderer. It's obviously one of these boys. It's either Tim or Shane, and I'm thinking that it's Tim." So she's like, "Let's lock ourselves in this room and hold out in here until the morning when we can, when it's light outside, and we can maybe try to escape and get some help or whatever." Well, Brooke wasn't trying to hear it, and she ends up leaving Chelsea in the room by herself. Brooke leaves out the room. Chelsea is in there by herself, and at this point we kind of like don't know the fate of Chelsea. So now we go back to present day, and Tim and Brooke have been dating, and he asked her to quit her job at the jail, and she refused, and he got mad about that. And he gets even madder when she begins to doubt that Shane is the killer. He gets even more aggravated about that. And then on top of that, another thing that's been kind of sketchy about Tim is there's this girl named Kelly that has been missing. He took Kelly out on a couple of dates, and now she's missing, and it's looking weird. So keep that in mind. So then also, one day, Tim sends Brooke downstairs into his cellar to retrieve a bottle of wine. And lo and behold, what does she find down there but the body of Kelly? And that was all that she needed to be convinced that she had gotten it wrong on that night 11 years ago. So just magically, the police show up, and they're there quickly to arrest him. I think she did call the police or something. did she call the police? I don't think she called the police. I think that the real problem child called the police. I'm sure that's what happened. That's how they showed up so fast, because it was all a setup. So listen. So now she's convinced that she, had the wrong man. She calls the cops. She says, Tim is really the killer because this lady is in his basement, and they immediately release Shane and put Tim in jail. Do you know how long it takes to overturn a life sentence? And all she had to say was, oh, well, I think I got the smell wrong. I couldn't trust my nose. So I was wrong about the smell, but I'm right about it this time. It was really Tim. And so they immediately take Shane out of jail based off of what evidence? They take him out of jail. They put Tim in jail. So now Shane is out. But Shane, meantime, in between time, has found out that Josh is his son, because he didn't know that Josh was his son. And mind you, he's been in jail this whole time, and she was just going to move on with her life or whatever, I guess, until she came back to this prison or whatever. But Shane gets out, and he's like trying to develop a relationship with Josh, but Josh isn't really taken to him like that, I mean, not like how he did with Tim or whatever. So he's pretty pissed off that Brooke didn't tell him about his son, and that she's the one who got him sent to jail. So he's released, and when he gets out, now he needs a place to stay. So he stays with Brooke for a little while. Stays with her for a little while, with her and her son. And then after a while, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to move into the old house that the murders happened in, because that was his childhood home. He's like, I don't have any other where to go. I need you, Brooke, and Josh. All of us need to go to this house and help me clean it up so that that's where I can stay. So they get to the house, and of course, little Miss Trigger Happy gets to the house and is triggered by everything in the house, and all of her memories come back, and she remembers exactly what happened, and she is starting to realize that there had to be two murderers in the house that night. She's thinking to herself, well, it had to be Shane and Tim working together. But while she's figuring this all out in her head, Shane and Josh have gone like walking in the woods to build a snowman and to get closer with one another. They go walking in the woods. While they're off walking in the woods, all of Brooke's epiphanies and realizations come flooding back to her, and she realizes that she made a horrible mistake, and that Shane really is the bad guy, because he calls her and he's like, look, I hate you. In reality, you kept my son away from me. You got me locked up. And so now you're never going to see your son again. So of course she begins to spaz out, and she's panicking at the house while they're in the woods. So she runs away from the house trying to get help. And when she does, I forgot to tell you that she has a maid. That's important. But I forgot to mention it because the maid is really like a background character throughout the book. She needed to be. She's really like a background character. So she runs away from the house. Brooke runs away from the house. And when she does that, she runs into the maid. Well, the maid, the whole book, we was thinking that her name was Marie or something. But in reality, her name was Margie. We thought that her name was Margie, but really her name was Pamela Nelson. And really, she is Shane Nelson's mother. So she pulls out a gun on Brooke. And Brooke is like, but you're my maid. Like, why are you pulling out a gun on me? What is the deal? Come to find out, it was two people who were responsible for the murders that night. It wasn't Tim and Shane. It was Shane and his mother. His mother was mad because her and Brooke's father used to have an affair. But Brooke's father broke up with her and said that he didn't want to leave his wife and his family for hers. So she's had a vendetta, a real chip on her shoulder for the longest. So that night, 11 years ago, her goal was to kill Brooke. But she never did get to Brooke. Her goal was to kill Brooke and set Tim up as the fall guy. But what ended up happening was all the other kids got in her way. They were just like collateral damage. And Brooke ended up getting away from her. And by her getting away, she turned the tables and was able to accuse Shane of the murders. And when she accused Shane of the murders, Tim backed her up. So now we've got two people saying Shane is really the murderer. And now his mother couldn't really help him out, and she had to let him go to jail. So while he is in jail, she then finds out that Brooke had her grandbaby, Josh. So that's when she puts on this front that she's a maid and she's there to take care of Josh and whatnot. But really, she just wants to see Josh, in his element, see her grandson, just be around him or whatever. But she's still mad at Brooke. So that was her whole thing. When I tell you I was so done with that lady, I was like... So this man decides that he doesn't want to be with you. And in turn, you decide to murder or attempt to murder his child. What? You attempt to murder his child, but in the midst of it all, kill a bunch of other kids, children. Like these were teenagers. All over some pain. Really? Honey, make it make sense. My mind was blown. Like, why was it that serious? So apparently, Pamela, Shane's mother, had killed everyone that night. And so when she killed everyone that night and then everything kind of hit the fan and her son went to jail, that's when everything kind of unfolded, and then now we're into the events of the book. It's almost over. Josh comes back from going into the woods to build a snowman with this stranger. He comes back, but he's by himself. And so Brooke is like, well, what in the world is going on? Where's Shane? Then we hit the epilogue and we get into Josh's thoughts and mind. Long story short, honey, Josh then killed Shane because Tim had told Josh that Shane was a dangerous man and that if he ever is around your mom or around you or whatever, never ever to trust him. So when Shane was on the phone telling Brooke how much he really hated her and this and that and the other and talking real reckless to her, Josh heard him. So while they were out in this snow, he took a tree and shook the icicles out of it and made the icicles, really heavy, big icicles, stab Shane to protect his mother. I guess. The whole book was a bunch of twists and turns and ups and downs. And I loved it. It was a little messy. It was a little, a couple of things didn't add up in it, or a couple of things I didn't like. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it. So I think I pretty much have it all out and settled. It's all in the story. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Then the next book that I had read this before The Inmate, was Never Lie. This was good. I had mentioned it in my other video, and that was about the girl Patricia and her husband. I said that before, and they find this house, but really it belongs to this therapist who has been missing and presumed dead. Her name is Adrienne Hale. And I was going to answer just a couple of the questions in the back. Let me see. So, this is Never Lie by Freidda McFadden. And the first question is, in the beginning of the story, Trisha and Ethan find themselves trapped in a sprawling estate. What about the house scares Trisha? What clues does she find that points to another person inhabiting the house? If you were trapped in a stranger's home during a winter storm, what would you do? So when they arrive, there's a light on in the upstairs, one of the upstairs bedrooms. So that was creepy. Because when they went in the house, there was no one there and the light was off. Then they see a fresh, or I should say, Trisha finds a fresh footprint in the dust of the house. And that was, let me see, what else? What clue? If you were trapped in a stranger's home, what would you do? Well, first of all, I wouldn't be trapped in no stranger's home, because I'm not going to be in no strange home that I don't know. I don't care what the heck is going on. Snowstorm, it was a snowstorm, and so they just walked the rest of the house. They were going to that house anyway, but they were going to meet their real estate agent. But I'm not going in no house that I don't know what all and who all is in there and what's all going on. At least in my car in the cold, I only have to think about braving the cold. And I always travel prepared. The thing about me is I'm going to have plenty of snacks, plenty of books, plenty of blankets and clothes and stuff to hold out, because I'm going on vacation. I always overpack for vacations. So I would have just stayed in my car until the morning. Just tried to put on all of my clothes and just waited out into the morning. At least I know what I am dealing with the cold. I only have to get warm. Going into a strange house, you don't know what all is in that house. I don't know. Out of the two, seem like braving the cold is the lesser of the two evils. So, number 2, the second question I'm going to skip. The third question, what do the tapes reveal about Adrienne's life leading up to her disappearance? If you found her tapes, would you have watched them like Trisha does? So, what the tapes reveal about Adrienne's life up until her disappearance was that it was very chaotic. She had a stalker. One of her patients was stalking her, and his name was EJ. And the whole book, we're thinking that EJ is Ethan. But she had a patient that was stalking her, and he wouldn't pay her, but he wanted only her to treat him. So he was being the worst. So, honey, she had a lot going on in her daggone life. And if you found her tapes, would you have watched them? No. I wouldn't have been snooping around in nobody's life. If I did happen to go inside of this weird ass house, I would be in a corner somewhere with a flashlight, because I'm not walking around and snooping around and getting familiar with nothing. That's a strange house. I would never. Let me see. Number 4. Who is EJ, and discuss what type of person he is and what role he plays throughout the novel. So, like I say, EJ was one of the psychiatrist Adrienne Hale's patients, and he is definitely giving narcissistic personality disorder, weirdo. He was the absolute worst, and I see why Adrienne felt the need to do all that she did from her perspective. I'm not saying that she was right, and I'm not saying that I agree with her, but I understand her. Let me see. Number 5. Adrian states that any human being is capable of terrible things if you push them hard enough. How does this relate to the story? Do you believe this is true? Why or why not? I wrote, well, EJ was pushing Adrian pretty hard by blackmailing her with, he had like videos of her doing little stupid shit. I mean, the stuff that he did have her doing, she had got mad at this man because he took her parking spot that she was waiting for. So she got out the car and popped all his tires, and EJ recorded her doing that. Well, if something like that was to get out, she could definitely get in trouble and maybe lose her license to practice. So she didn't want to get out. So he was using stuff like that to blackmail her and blah, 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 blah. That's infuriating. So it relates to the story very much so, because terrible things if you push them hard enough. He was pushing her. He was definitely pushing her, and she took care of it. And I do believe that it's true to a degree. It depends on what's at stake for me personally. Most things I can let go of and restart life over again. Some things is just unretractable. Like, you just can't come back from them. So I get it. I believe it's true that humans are capable of terrible things if you push them enough. Let me see. 6. What do Trisha and Ethan find inside Adrian's house? And what was your reaction to this reveal? A couple of things. First, she found those tapes. Then they both found EJ's body in the floorboards. And then they also find Luke, Adrian's accused boyfriend, hiding in the house. So he was the reason why it looked occupied, because it was. My question is, unless I missed it in the book, so Luke was in there holed up with EJ's body all that time? Honey, that sounds tough. Let me see. Question 7 is, the novel is titled Never Lie, and it suggests there's a distinct theme of lying throughout the story. Discuss the ways in which each character is dishonest. What do you think is the biggest secret of all? I'm not going to discuss the way I think each character was dishonest, but there was, especially with the biggest reveal, there was a whole lot of dishonesty. But the way that the title tied into the reveal, chef's kiss. Excellent. I loved it. And I'm not going to give away the whole thing. Let me see. There's only 9 questions. And number 8. As the end of the story comes closer, it's clear that Trisha is... Yeah, I said I'm not going to answer that one. Neither. Because I don't want to give away the whole daggone story. I want you to read it. I already gave away the enemy. I mean, there's still spoilers. Because there's always spoilers in my videos. Now, I'm not going to just say everything. But it was fun. This reading week has been enjoyable. Yep. Even reading Needful Things has been fast-paced and juicy and good. Pet Cemetery, fast-paced and good. I can't wait to do the videos for those. So, yeah. I wanted to get through the questions for Never Lie real quick, because I don't want to... This video is already like super long, but I really wanted to talk about those 2 books and just give a little bit of my thoughts on them. Okay, they're both 5 stars. I know I said I was going to be more picky, but these deserve it. I love the twist. I love how fast-paced it is and how, easy they are to get through. Sometimes some things, like I said, stick with me or irritate me about, certain stories or whatever. But for the most part, I love it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. And I will see you in a little while when I come back with some Stephen King updates and some whatever else I was reading. Oh, I changed my mind about reading The Chain right now. And I'm going to instead do, let me see if I can, sorry, show you this. The Stranger in the House by Sherry LaPena. Now, I love me a good Sherry LaPena book too. Sherry LaPena and Freidda McFadden have had me in the tightest chokehold this year. I just don't know what to do with myself. Love it. So I'm gonna go. All right. See you next time.